All right, welcome to the game level maze project part 1. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the basic steps of creating the file for the project. And we're going to go over the aspects of the project. And then in another tutorial, we'll cover more detail about the actual project. So there'll be 2 tutorials at least on YouTube here. The first thing is to break down the actual project. What you're going to do, you're going to create a maze of simple primitives. These primitives are like cubes and spheres and other simple forms. You're going to create at least 2 levels of these, and then you'll include stairways that connecting points, entries, and possibly some basic modeling of objects. And then you're going to take 2 screenshots of your maze. These instructions here on how to do an actual screenshot for a PC or a Mac. So I'm on a Windows machine, so basically all you have to do on the keyboard here is click on the Windows symbol in the bottom left, along with the print screen here on the right. So if I did the window print screen of this keyboard, I would have it, and it would be in a folder in the pictures library. So your pictures, and you have a folder called screenshots, and that's essentially where it would be at. So here's the screenshot of the keyboard that I just showed you here. Okay, so pretty easy to do. So make sure you do that in a couple different angles for your maze, and which will be in the 3D navigation in Maya. Here are some basic tutorials on how to interact with Maya. So I'm going to click on one of these, and I'm going to quickly click on the pause button here. But this one is introduction navigation. So this is how you get around in Maya. The next one is the transform tools. So this is how you move simple forms in 3D space. The next one is the actual interface in Maya. So if you're completely new to Maya and you're not sure what it's about, this kind of goes over that. So there's only 3 tutorials here to kind of get you the basic steps. And then this last one here is about the 4 views. It's kind of a quick one, which I'll kind of go over today in the tutorial. And then below here, you'll say watch these tutorials for the actual project below. I'll have at least 2 for this project. This is a project that's going to take several weeks to complete. The first week, all you're going to do is create some simple primitives and start to create the maze. And then later on, we'll add materials and texturing, and we'll actually render out some images. So let's check this out. Let's go into Maya here. I have Maya open. If you've never opened up Maya, it's under the Autodesk menu when you install it. And I have the tutorial on there on Canvas on how to install Maya. I believe if you go to the home page here, under Welcome to 3-Dimensional Design, in here it talks about how to install Maya and a little quick video on installing Maya Mudbox. So if you haven't done that before, click on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and quickly go back to the game level maze assignment here. So this project here, again, we're going to create 2 levels of objects, simple primitives, and show some basic modeling with this screenshot. So let's start off by setting up the project. I have my open already, but and you can see here in the scene I have the spaceship here. And what I'm doing here is I'm typing the numbers 4, which is for wireframe, 5, which is for shaded solid, 6, which is for textures, so you can see textures being applied, and 7 is for lighting. So if I had lighting in here, which I can turn on here, you can kind of see here that it did something different. The reason why it's doing something different is the type of lighting I have in here is not visible through the main menu here. But those are the different numbers you can navigate through, 4, 5, 6. Understand with Maya that it's a learning curve, and it takes time to get to know it and how to understand it. The hardest thing is going to be about navigation, how to move around. So you have to hold the Alt key with the one hand and the mouse on the other hand. So I'm holding Alt and left click to rotate, right, on the keyboard. So if we go back to that keyboard image here, I'm holding on the Alt key here, and with my left hand because I'm right-handed. And then with my right hand with the mouse, I'm clicking either left, right, or middle mouse. So left kind of rotates, middle mouse will pan up and down, and right will zoom in and out. And it takes a little bit of practice to kind of get that down. But once you get that down, you can do lots of things in Maya. So you'll see here I have this, let's see, this object here, which if I use a one of these tools over here, like the move tool, this one actually you can see here is a control. So this is a demonstration of rigging in here. If I hit play, you can actually see everything move. It's got animation. And basically everything in here has been modeled. You can see the actual geometry here if we zoom in on some of these pieces here. You can frame up on a piece by hitting the F key on your keyboard, and it will kind of pivot around that object's pivot point, which is kind of nice. So but basically, yeah, that's a quick little overview of my scene here. But let's start from the beginning here. Start from scratch, right? I have this very complicated scene here. We don't want to start off so complicated with the first day of Maya. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new document. I'm just going to go File, New Scene, and I'm going to hit Don't Save on this project here. I don't need to save it. And it'll open up a fresh scene here in Maya. So this is typically what you see when you open up Maya. Okay, and what we're going to do here is we're going to first off create our project, because the project structure is very important. So you have to go to the File menu here and go down to Project Window. So File and go down to Project Window and click that. What that'll open up is a project window, which is a series of folders essentially. The way Maya works, it's set up to basically connect everything together. And it's really important because if you break the connections of things won't work. So typically it goes to your Documents folder. That's what the location is showing here. You can see here I have my Documents, Maya, and there's a Projects folder. I recommend leaving it in that default location, and that's a good place to put it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the New button because I don't want to overwrite my spaceship project. I'm going to click on New, and it will say New Project here. And I'm going to rename this. I'm going to just highlight over the New here, and I'm going to call it Maze. So this will be my Maze project essentially. And then all I have to do to keep the default of all these folders here is click Accept. Once I've done that, I have essentially created my folder structure. Now, this document that I have open here is not saved. You can see in the top left it says Untitled. So the first thing you want to do is save your work, and save often. I really recommend that. So I'm going to go File, Save Scene As, and you'll see here the directory at the top. It shows me where things are being saved. The Documents, Maya, Projects, Maze project, which we just created, and it's being stored in this folder called the Scenes folder. So what we're going to do is click down here and give it a name. I'm going to just call mine Maze 1. You could add your name to it. Typically in the classroom I would have students name their files, their name, like their first last name, and then whatever the project title would be. So for me it would be James Kleckner and then Maze 1, for example. The reason why I'm having the 1 after it is because I might want to save out another version of this, and so I call it like Maze 2 or Maze 3 or Maze 4 as we progress. So I click Save As, and then I click Continue when this little pop-up happens. And then top left you'll see here it says maze1.ma, and now we know it has been saved. In fact, if I go to my folder here, go to my Documents, Maya, Projects, and look for the Maze project, in the Scenes folder, you will see the file. There it is, Maze 1. Now, when you open up Maya again, it should remember where you save the file. So if you just open up Maya and then go File, Open, you should be able to find your Maze 1 file there. So that's basically saving up the file. Let's put a piece of geometry in here just so that we have something to look at. So there should be a shelf here called Modeling, and if you click on the little cube, which is the second little icon here, we can add a little piece of geometry. And you may not see it in your scene, just like I'm not seeing it. So I'm going to hit the F key and frame in on it. And there we are. Now your scene might look a little bit different. We'll go over some of those reasons why. You may, for example, have a grid, which may look very different than my grid here. And I'll kind of go over a few settings why that has changed in future tutorials. But basically that's the first tutorial. We're basically just setting everything up. I'm going to save it one more time by hitting Control S, and then hit continue. Until next time, see you soon. Cheers.